Hey, are you looking to move to Westchase? In this video, I'm going to go over the good and the bad and the ugly, the pros and the cons, the yin and the yang of moving to Westchase. It's rated the #1 suburb of Tampa for families. So let's check it out. Hey, so Westchase is the #1 rated area for families. That's because of its great location just outside of Tampa. It can take anywhere from 25 minutes to 35 minutes to get into Tampa, depending on time of day and traffic. But what makes it amazing is that it is a quiet, family-friendly area. So if you're that young professional, Westchase does have condos, but if you're looking for that nightlife and things like that, this probably isn't the area for you. But if you're a family and looking for that quiet suburban area with great schools, this is the area for you. Speaking of schools, Westchase has some of the best rated schools in Hillsborough County. They have A+ rated public schools. There's also private school options available. Some of the top schools for the area is Westchase Elementary, and you have Deer Park Elementary. And for the middle schools, you want to be looking at Davidson Middle School and Farnell Middle School. And then Alonzo High would be the high school that is recommended for the area. So those are some of the top rated schools. So you'll definitely want to keep that in mind. But I know that's always one of the priorities for families, is making sure their kids are in a great school district. And if you're looking for safety, this is a great area as well, because there's a low crime rate, and Westchase is made up of a series of villages, and a lot of those villages run together, and a lot of those communities are gated. So that gives you an extra measure of security. A lot of them do have 24-hour gated security. Even if they're not 24-hour guards there, a lot of them are gated. So that gives you that added security as well. So Westchase is a planned community. So what that means is they have zoned it all up. It's all pre-planned for when they built it. Like I said, each of those villages connects together. So there's over 28 villages. So there's like the Bridges, the Greens, Harbor Links, things like that. So depending on what you like to do, might be where you like to go. There's also top rated golf courses. So some of the communities actually have private golf courses right in the amenities, but you also have the Westchase Golf Club, and that is actually rated one of the top public golf courses in all the US. So you'll definitely want to check that out. Golf Digest actually named that in the top 10 for golf courses. So if you're a golfer, check that out. So there are a multitude of golf courses available in the Westchase area. Now, one of the cons would be that a lot of the area does have a HOA. A lot of the HOAs are lower, but they also have something called a CDD. So what is a CDD? So basically that's going to be an extra fee. A lot of those communities have amenities. So they're going to have maybe a golf course, but they're going to have parks and a fitness center, a lot of them. Most of the communities have swimming pools. Some of them have those private golf courses. So all of that does take money to maintain. So the CDD is a fee that is charged to help maintain all of those. And even when it's all paid for, there's still the yearly upkeep to keep those looking nice, to keep the grounds looking nice, to keep the playgrounds. So you're gonna have those CDD fees as well. Now, another con would be inventory is currently low. So if this is an area that you're interested in, please give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me that email. I would love to help you find something in Westchase or a similar area. So shoot me a message saying what you're looking for, and I can help you. And that's definitely important since inventory is low. Now, the pro would be the abundance of amenities that these communities have, because the swimming pools, the fitness centers, all those things that you are paying a CDD or HOA fee for, those are private to that community. So only people in that community or your friends can use those. And so people aren't just like popping into those parks or popping into those pools if they don't live there, unless they're a guest of the people that live there. So it does make it semi-private. So that also makes that really nice. There is a great community vibe where everyone helps each other. There's a town center that's great for basic shopping. As far as grocery stores, you have your Publix, things like that. They do have a Costco here. If you're looking for Trader Joe's or something like that, you will have to drive a little bit further out. There isn't one in Westchase, but there are plenty of those in the Tampa area. And the same for major shopping. There's small shops here in the area, but if you want to do designer shopping or clothing, I would hop over to Tampa, or you can always go over to Wesley Chapel. A lot of people do that as far as bigger malls. And then a lot of people purposely live here because it is the suburb. Traffic can get a little hectic during certain times of the day. So you'll have to keep that in mind for if you're commuting. But if you work from home, that's not a problem. So that can be a con for the high volume of traffic to some people. They do have some great parks in the area that are public parks, and they have a great biking trail system here that's part of the Upper Tampa Bay Trail system that has over 18 miles of trail. So if you're a jogger or a cyclist, you want to hop on that trail and exercise on that. So that's always great. So there's always a plethora of things for outdoors. And of course, as always, there's the golfing. And if you're into outdoor animals, if you were like me during COVID, you might have watched Tiger King, not in Westchase, but just outside it in Citrus Park. You can actually, if you pay a small fee because it has closed or a donation, you might still be able to get into Carol's area sanctuary. It's called Big Cat Animal Rescue. And that is where she has all the animals that were mentioned in Tiger King. So I was surprised to see that's where that was located. So that's just outside of Westchase in the Citrus Park area. So if you're interested in taking a tour of that, you know, you can give them a call and see. It does say on the website if you give a donation, then they are letting some people in before it permanently closes. So that's always very interesting. As far as restaurants, there's plenty, and the town center has a lot of different gyms. It has restaurants and things to do over there, has a hair salon and stuff. And throughout Westchase, there are more food places popping up. So Westchase has definitely grown over the last several years. So the population right now is around 24,000, give or take a little bit. That's up quite a bit from even the last 10 years. So quite a few more bars and restaurants are now in the area, always more shopping. It does make for more traffic in the area. As far as main streets, Limeball Avenue is going to be one of your major thoroughfares, and that can get a little jammed up, like I said, during rush hour. So that is something to keep in mind, but overall it is a beautiful community. Now, if you're like me and if just now moving to Florida, I've lived here for a little bit, but I was surprised at some of the pests that were in the area. Like, I've never lived anywhere before that had lizards that would sometimes just like run into your little Florida room. So you want to like shut the door really quick, or that lizard will come running in, especially in the summer when it's really hot, because they're trying to get some shade. So Florida's the only place I've lived that had like a lizard issue. So to me, I don't really like the lizards running in my house. I always shut the door really quick. So that's something to keep in mind. You know, it's proof the dinosaurs once roamed the earth, because it's like a little baby dinosaur or something. I don't know. I don't really care for them. So that's something as far as pests go. You'll also want to keep in mind mosquitoes at night can be a big deal. So keep that off, or bug spray handy, because you're going to need that. And then, of course, there's gators by any of the lakes. So when you're walking your pets, or if you have kids, you'll just want to make sure that the area is clearly marked. Otherwise, you would want to keep them not on the edge of the lake, just in case. But a lot of the rivers are safe and everything here. But I would really stick to swimming in the beach or the pool. I wouldn't get in any lakes that aren't clearly marked here just because alligators are a real thing. And if you're like Indiana Jones and me, it's like, oh, I hate snakes. There's not snakes just slithering all around, but when you go out in the woods and maybe go on that hike or on that bike trail that I mentioned, you might run into a snake. So just keep that in mind. I would just leave snakes alone. The majority of them aren't poisonous, but just don't bother them. You might see some garden snakes in the area. But yeah, I am not a fan of snakes, so I don't want to see any snakes. But thankfully, in most of the area, there are not snakes. But that is something to keep in mind in the woods. So to me, that is a definite con. Now, one of the top pros, of course, you are a little bit further from the beach, but it's very drivable. So a lot of times on that weekend, if you're looking for activities to do, you can hop over to the Pinellas County side. Westchase is in the Hillsborough side, that's the Tampa side. So just jump over one of the bridges, either 275, Gandy Bridge. Those are some of the main bridges. I'll show you on a Google Maps video some of the best ways to get down to the beaches, but you have a plethora of beaches. There's 28 to 30 miles of Gulf Coast. So you want to check out those beautiful white sand beaches, and you can enjoy that on the weekends or during the week. There's always more people at the beach during the weekend, so keep that in mind. And you'll want to probably alter it to where it's not like spring break weekend, because that's when the crowds are really big, or holiday weekends. But it's always fun to go over there. And because you are close to Tampa, there is a ton of stuff to do. So if you're a sports person, if you love the theater, if you just want a nice restaurant and are tired of what's in Westchase, just pop over to Tampa or pop over to St. Pete or Clearwater. There's plenty of things to do. There's plenty of things to see. And so there's so much entertainment wise that you can do there. Yeah, there's theater groups, all kinds of stuff. So that's definitely a plus. And then one of the last cons would definitely be insurance. Now, insurance is a huge issue, not just in Westchase, it's all over Florida. So you've got to think of your flood insurance for certain properties, as well as your homeowner's insurance, and even car insurance I would throw in there here, because although car insurance is not difficult to get, it is higher. So I lived in a different state before I lived in Florida, and I was really surprised when I saw how much higher my car insurance bill was. I was like, it must be all those older drivers. I don't know. I think it's a combination of that and just different people. There's sometimes in the summer, because there's a lot of tourists and things, there's just a lot of accidents. Whatever reason, I'm not sure, but there's just a lot more accidents on the road. So insurance is higher. And also homeowners insurance, that has become a hot button issue. Why? Because a lot of homeowners insurance companies are pulling out of Florida, whether that's because of the hurricane risk. There's also was an issue with roofing several years ago. And so now when you're looking at that property, you want to make sure that your roof is less than 10 years old, because if it's more than 10 years, a lot of insurance companies will want you to replace that roof. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. You definitely want to know the age of the roof when you're checking out a property, because that's become a hot button issue with insurance. And you want a cheaper rate, so you want to do everything you can to make sure that you can get the best rate possible for yourself. Also, if you can do stuff to mitigate the hurricane risk with the roof, that's always good too. Whether it's having hurricane clips in certain areas on the roof, that's a good thing to do as well. So you'll want to check that out. And then of course, you do have the weather. That's always a pro and a con for the area. The weather on days like today is amazing. It is a little humid. And then as the summer goes on, the weather gets extremely humid and extremely hot. I don't like it quite as hot as it gets in Florida personally. So if you're not a hot weather person, this might not be the area for you. And it can get really humid, and it does not necessarily cool off at night like some other areas. So that's something you want to keep in mind. And so from July through September, October, it's just very hot. Also from the beginning of June until the end of September is hurricane season. Sometimes that pushes into October. So that is something to keep in mind. All right, so as far as hurricanes go, Westchase is a great location because it is far enough away from the water that it hasn't taken a direct hit. Of course, you can never promise that it's not going to get hit by a hurricane because it is in Florida, but that is definitely a pro, is you're a lot less likely compared to someplace right by the beach. Now, as far as travel time to key places in the area, Westchase is great because it's pretty central in Hillsborough County, so you can get to Tampa pretty quickly. So anywhere from 25-30 minutes, depending on traffic, you can be in most places in Tampa. You can pop over to Wesley Chapel pretty quickly. Again, it's about 20-25 minutes to the airport. You can make it up to Disney in about an hour and 15 minutes. 35-40 minutes, you can be over by the beaches. So just a great location as far as travel time to different areas. So a lot of people like it because it does have that suburban feel, but you can get to a lot of the more built up areas in Tampa or some of the anchor cities like St. Pete and Clearwater pretty quickly, and you do have those beach access. You can also go up to Orlando, and that can take you anywhere from hour and 15 to hour and 30 depending on traffic. Of course, I-4 can be a crapshoot sometimes, so I mean the time could always bloom up, but try to go up to Orlando if you're doing that an off-peak travel times, just so you're not spending too much time in the car there. Hey, so that wraps up the Westchase pros and cons. If you have a question about the area, feel free to drop a question in the comment section and I'll get back to you. And whether you're looking to make your move in 9 days or 90 days, give me that call, shoot me that text, or send me that email. I absolutely love hearing from you, and I can't wait to help make that smooth move to Westchase in the Tampa Bay area. Welcome home. You're gonna love living here.